What's up, everyone, and welcome back to school. But don't worry, everything is cool. I'm your host, Jalissa, and of course, I am here with the boys, Steve and Brandon. Say what's up, you guys.
What's up?
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Brandon, how you feeling?
I'm doing
It's
pretty
the
good.
holidays. Tomorrow is December. For those of you watching and listening, it is December.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, what's your favorite Christmas thing to do? I'm trying to get into Christmas. If you guys are regular listeners, you know I'm a hater. You know, I've been born a hater. But recently, my girl told me that she's not really into Christmas either. So I was like, I feel like we both can't be like Scrooges.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to push myself to
You should have
to
a little,
finally.
you should have a little Christmas party. You know what I was? You know.
No more parties, please.
No, but you know what I was thinking? I was thinking the other day how like you do Halloween, Andrea does Thanksgiving, and Patrick does New Year's. I was like,
Christmas, there's a gap.
yeah, there's
Oh,
a gap.
That's for you.
No, I did my birthday. I can't.
Your fucking birthday? Come on,
Mhm.
bro. That's a requirement.
No.
That doesn't count.
No, that's not a
So
requirement.
somebody has to do the Christmas
Somebody has
party?
to do Christmas. You or Israel.
Oh yeah, Izzy. You guys know Izzy. He's our Joey Diaz. You won't know. Maybe he'll throw a Christmas party. But yeah, I've been trying to get into it because I'm like, man, maybe it's finally time. I
mean-
heal myself.
I mean, you guys went to the zoo lights, no?
Yeah.
How's
We went to
that?
Zoo Lights. It
How's
was
that?
sick as hell. I snuck in my hydros. Yeah, they were full of alcohol, bro.
Really?
Drugs.
Are they actually?
Drugs.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
And perk.
Tell
it was
them-
lean in there.
Do you want to tell them what happened, though, when you were trying to
No,
push it?
please.
What I.
No, bro,
Come
it's
on,
embarrassing.
you can't do that to me. You can't
Well,
be like,
this actually leans into my cold open that I was going to ask you guys about. So I took a few hits off my Stizzy, copyrighted, trademarked, sponsor us. I took a few hits off the Benjamin, and I got high before we went in. And I'm just like a clumsy guy. Like I'm a super clumsy guy when it comes to getting high. And so I had gotten coffee too, right? So I was like, oh my God, like look at these zoo lights. It's beautiful. So I held up my phone to take a picture with the coffee right next to it. And so I have it like this, right? My coffee cup right here. And then I go up to take a picture. My high ass doesn't notice that I have the coffee literally right here. And I'm just like, oh my God, look how beautiful it is. Like just clicking over and over. And literally as the coffee's right there. And then I put my phone down. And then I look on the ground next to me, right? Because my phone's down.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's wet. Wait, is that from my coffee? Wait a minute. And then I look down. I was wearing a plain white shirt, completely drenched
You didn't
in
feel
iced
it?
coffee. No, I didn't feel it. I was just too high.
You didn't feel it?
No, I didn't feel it. Like
Iced coffee too? I thought this was scalding hot coffee. So
no, it was iced
that's
coffee. And it was like, I think it was 49 degrees outside. So I was cold after. I was like completely cold. And I told my girl, and she thought it was the funniest shit ever. She literally laughed for hours about it. It's pretty much brought up every 5 minutes. And I told my sister, and she's like, I believe that. It sounds like something you would do. And I don't know what it is, but this goes into my cold open. How do you guys feel about weed? Do you guys feel like it should be legalized? Do you guys feel like people's relationship towards weed is cool? And I'll bring up this story. So I got high recently.
Yeah.
And I had a bad trip. I want to gaslight myself into thinking it's just because I had way too much caffeine beforehand.
Probably.
And caffeine and weed never mix. I mean, you've seen me. But I was in my bed, literally like as if I was about to turn into a werewolf. Like going like this, like rubbing my head. Like I was just completely tweaking by myself. I was just thinking about like life and problems. And I completely went over this like negative cloud. And then the next day when I'm sober, I went on this deep dive about weed and all the positives and negatives. I don't know if you guys are interested in that or anybody in the audience. If you guys want to hear some things about it.
Go ahead.
So it's recommended that you don't smoke weed until you turn 25 because your brain hasn't fully developed. And weed has shown in multiple studies to make that part of your brain that is used for decision making and regulates emotions. It stunts its growth. So you're not supposed to take weed if you're under 25. Too late for a lot of us. Too late for the one speaking. So dismiss that. Who cares, right? You live once. You only live once.
Yeah.
Another thing is that people who smoke, specifically dab pens, the Benjamin, as I mentioned earlier, are more likely to experience psychosis episodes later in life. Multiple research shows that specifically if it's the pen, if you go back to back to back, like basically smoking, but the research is if you smoke that every day, you are more prone to also getting bipolar disorder later on in life. And I did that for a fat minute, so it's too late now. So ignore that one too. So I was like, whatever, I don't care. He talked about how one of the things that's really, really interesting is that it definitely depends on the type of person that you are. That because weed is so introspective, it's really, really hard to study it. And that some people will, your grandma will take a few hits and she'll be like, oh my God, like I feel so good. My body feels so good. This is the best thing ever. And then, I don't know, your Uncle Sam will take one hit and
he fought in Vietnam. So
and he'll be tweaking, thinking he's back in the jungle,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but in that research on the YouTube recommended, I saw a video that says Seth Rogen lets Conan take a hit off his joint. And I was shocked for a multitude of reasons. One, I was shocked that on national TV, you could see a host take a hit off weed. Right there, you literally saw Seth Rogen takes it out of his pocket, he lights it up, and he smokes it in a room full of people in an audience. Like, how far has weed come since the 60s when you would literally go to federal prison? There's people right now serving prison life for selling and smoking weed, and yet you have this personality on there just having fun, dicking around like, oh my God, I've never smoked weed before. That's what Conan said. Fake, first of all. No, I call cap. He probably has smoked before, but I don't know. But he says, I never smoked before. And so Seth Rogen is such a good friend. He's like, take one hit off of this and then sit on it and let me know how you feel. And if you feel good about it, we'll give you another hit later. Right? So, wow, what a good, cool trip sitter, right?
Yeah.
Because some homies out there, I'm sure some of you guys can relate, will be like, nah, smoke that whole shit.
Patrick.
Shout out to Patrick, Patty with a fatty, Pappy, my champagne Pappy. Shout out to him. And he's like, holy shit. Oh my God, I'm so faded. No, he doesn't like that. But anyways, in the comment section, there's someone who's like, oh, I was so scared for Conan when he was taking that first hit because I thought it was going to be another Jack Black smoking with Doug episode. And I was like, what? What are they talking about? So I'm just walking everybody down this rabbit hole I went through about weed. And then I looked it up, and apparently there's a podcast out there. Seriously, look this up. There's a podcast out there where Jack Black gets high and he starts having a bad trip and he tweaks on the entire podcast. But what a warrior. He stays the podcast. But it weirdly now relates back to the beginning of what I said. It made me feel good because Jack Black talked about that he used to smoke a lot growing up. And in his like college days and then in his early days of his 20s, he would smoke a lot. But for some reason, his trips started turning negative and dark. And he felt like there was always just this like evil cloud like over his head when he would smoke. He said that it got so bad that he got a safe word with his wife, where if he felt like he was tripping out too hard, he would say his safe word, whatever it was. But it made me feel cool because a lot of people in the comments were saying that Jack Black is such like a lovable, cheerful, outgoing, energetic guy. And it sucks that, he introvert perspective thinks of himself when he's high as like this like negative cloud burden. And I was like, oh my God, I feel seen. Like I feel so much more comfort because I realized that like despite the negative thoughts I could have if I'm having a bad trip on weed, it doesn't have to define that that's actually who I am. Who I am is who I am when I'm sober. And I'm not preaching sobriety to people out there. I'm still probably gonna get high some other day. But I guess I mean it more in the sense of I think it's with weed becoming more and more normalized. I think there's a lot of unsaid rules on weed. It's like the Wild West of like how to properly have a relationship with it. And I guess I want to tell people that you don't have to get faded as fuck every single time. You don't have to do everything that your homies do. Because honestly, you could just smoke a little bit and you could feel all right. If you don't feel all right, talk to somebody. And understand that even when you do feel negative in those spaces, understand that it's just a reflection of what you're feeling at the time. But it's not you. It's simply just a reflection. You get what I'm saying? And I guess I just wonder, I know I was talking forever, but how do you guys feel about weed?
I feel like I weirdly haven't been like smoking as much. I know for a while during the pandemic I was, and like I would take like edibles and shit. I don't know. Is edibles better then?
Yeah. Supposedly it is, yeah. Shout out to Huberman's Lab, who I watched to get researched more on weed.
Huberman's Lab.
You know who
Nice
you know
name.
who?
No.
Yeah. And he said that the reason why flower and dabs are more dangerous, it's because of how fast you get high. That it takes 30 seconds to go into your brain and then flow through your entire bloodstream. And he's like, that's incredibly fast for any substance. That's incredibly fast, because he said that even for drinking, it doesn't hit your system that fast. And he said that it's better to take them with edibles. That apparently edibles like regulates your body because it's literally digesting, and there's also an easier way to see exactly how much you're intaking. Whereas when you smoke, there's no, obviously it's until when you stop. You don't know, even if it's a joint or a dab pen, you can't really regulate how much you're smoking. I don't know why this turned into like the weed podcast, but science, it relates. A lot of Latinos like to smoke. I think so. A lot of my friends, well, actually, it's just like they're just my friends and they smoke. So I don't know if it's a lot of Latinos.
Yeah.
That might be a crazy projection. But you were saying, Julie, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for a good while I was smoking a lot, and especially when I went to college. Now I feel like I hardly do, just because I feel like I'm always working. But I do feel that once I kind of started getting back into it, I did start feeling like I would kind of trip out, where it's just me in my head, like just overthinking sometimes. Like if I have like stuff going on, like I just start overthinking about like myself or like my relationships. And so that started happening a lot to me, where I just didn't like it every single time. Because I remember every time I would smoke, I would just vibe. Like I'd just be vibing. Like I wouldn't have that many thoughts about anything, honestly. And then eventually I just started having thoughts about like just different things and like overthinking a lot. And so now I hardly do it, but I feel like I do have this weird feeling of people who do it too much, where I'm like, I feel just like you shouldn't be doing it that much. Like I get
But why?
Because I just feel like it's just really bad to kind of just be in kind of that setting of yourself a lot, especially because I feel like it does come to a point where I think you do trip, and I think you still just kind of are like, okay, fuck it, whatever, I had a bad trip, like I'll just keep going or whatever. I feel like there's some people who do that, and then there's other people who just do it just because like they don't want to feel in the way I see it is they don't want to feel kind of in like the reality of things. Like they just want to be in that motion of like high, right? And I know people are always having the argument that you can't be addicted to weed. And I'm just like, I feel like you can, like you get addicted to the feeling of being high.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people do fall into that.
You could be addicted to anything too.
Yeah. I feel like you can. And I feel like weed has come a long way of like just because I mean, amongst our parents, like as a Mexican household, it's still seen as something really bad. Like
For sure.
it's still seen as just like when you would see, I guess, like people being
cocaine,
drugged out.
heroin.
Yeah, people being drugged out in the street or like
They're probably
just
on weed.
like a homeless. I mean, in Spanish they call them like oh los marihuanos, like oh va a ser marihuano or something like that. And I always had that like description of someone is like someone who like does drugs or is homeless, right? Like when my parents would say that. And I remember one time I did try to tell them that like it's not that bad of a drug. Like at least in the beginning, I used to say that. I used to be like, it's not that bad of like a drug. Like it doesn't really like make you go too crazy. I mean, I guess it does if you get high to a certain point. But I remember I tried explaining to them that also like, I mean, it's used like medicinally, right? Like people use it for like other stuff. There's just people who abuse it, you know? And that's why I feel like it's come such a long way. And I feel like it's interesting that like, at least in the older generation, it's still seen as something really bad, which I get, you know, like it's a drug.
Really? I don't understand.
Like it's a drug, you know, like it's just seen in just like a bad thing of like because it's a drug, and people say it's also like a gateway drug to like other drugs. So I feel like I feel like I can understand why people see it that way, but I feel like at least because we haven't ever had bad experiences with it, we can say like it's okay, you know, to do it. You know,
I think what I think is interesting about weed is I feel like people are in denial about the fact that it can be bad, and I feel like the reason that they are in denial about it is because it's kind of like a, what do you call it? Like a reaction to the fact that it was so demonized.
For sure.
Like I get it. Like at first it was very demonized, and it's not like that. Like it's really not that serious. And there's a lot of things that I feel like were wrong about that demonization, like you spoke on earlier. And so, yeah, but I feel like that doesn't mean it's 100% all good either.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from the fact that when it was illegal, there was this loophole that like, oh, it's medicine, and like, oh, like it helps my glaucoma, and like certain people like can really like be benefited from it. And again, like, yeah, there's instances where maybe that's true, you know? But so I think in both respects, people kind of went a little too ham on it.
Yeah.
You know, there's people who think that it's basically like a vitamin C. Like you should just have that shit all the time. And then there's people who swear like that shit will kill you.
Yeah.
But the truth kind of lies between them, you know? Like, yeah, it can be cool. Like some people can really handle it and some people can function all day. But it can also be really bad. Like people can get psychosis. Like people can like, you're not supposed to put anything in your lungs that's not air. You know, like you swear that it's like, oh, this is good for me, you know, like, you know, so that's why my more opinion on it is it's like, come on, be real. Like, you know, that not everything's like, you can eat broccoli every day for the rest of your life. Like broccoli's good for you, like on it, like a little bit, like here and there. But like, if that's your main diet, you're going to die.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
You need other nutrition.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I see about it. You know, it's like, yeah, for sure. It can be bad. Like it can be really bad. And, you know, it can be good too, but don't.
You never had the stizzy and iced coffee for breakfast? You never had that, bro?
No.
You never did that? Just me?
Yeah, just you.
What's it called? I think you also hit the nail on the head where it's, I've growing up, I think it's always just those two people. It's either somebody telling me like, yo, weed, like that shit's whack, that shit'll kill you, or that shit makes you lazy and a bum. Or it'll be where I'm smoking with people who like weed and they'll be like, bro, I don't get why we don't just smoke this all the time and just like never stop. And I'm like why can't we meet somewhere in the middle? And I think that's why it's important to have these convos more, because it's feel like for how often at least I smoke, I won't out you guys, but for at least how often I smoke, it's weird that I never really talk about it on the show. But I think the reason why is all like monetarily, because I know YouTube doesn't like when we talk about it. I know Spotify doesn't. Well, actually, I don't know about that. But I know YouTube doesn't like it. I know TikTok doesn't like it. I know Instagram doesn't like it. And I think that's weird because it leaves a big gap where I think millions and millions of people are not only using weed right now, but millions of more are about to hop into that like experience. And there's no guideline because it's as if like literally the government doesn't want to like show you that side, or business doesn't want to show you that side.
And I think that's why it still has such a, like how I said, like I think there's still such a negative like connotation to it, because like even then, like if you talk about it, I mean, I feel like if you talk about drinking, like I don't think that's seen as bad. Maybe if you see the label like on YouTube or something, but like it's still very much seen as something bad, you know. And I think that's the other reason as to why some people get into it, because they see it as like this bad thing that they could just like kind of get into. Like it's still small, you know, because it's not an extreme, you know. It's a drug that people do, and like, oh, you're like bad or whatever for like doing it. Because even then, like when because I've mentioned here that like I don't really drink a lot. Like I prefer smoking. Like I prefer getting high, like off weed. And I feel like I've always just had, I guess, a good relationship with it, where I've never abused it. Like, yeah, I did it a lot during the pandemic, but I never was like high all the time.
I get you. And like to run away from your feelings.
Yeah, like it was all mostly just because I was vibing, and for the most part, when I was high, I was always laughing. Like I was always, everything was always funny to me.
My sister's a big laugher. Bro.
Like I laugh a lot.
Loves laughing.
When I'm high, I laugh a lot. And so like I feel like when people would talk to me about like going out or like going out for drinks and stuff, I'd always say like, oh, I don't really drink, which I don't. Like I don't like drinking. I don't like the taste of it. And so but then when I would mention like, oh, I smoke, like I smoke weed, I had always felt like people were judging me for that, because it's just seen so like in a negative eye, especially I feel like especially in the Latino community, it's kind of just seen as bad. Because it was just a feeling, and I don't know if that was just me kind of like projecting on myself that people saw it that way, but I always felt that it was still always seen in like a negative like area of that, which is why I never talked about it, because I was always like, I feel like, and then especially because a lot of them were like family friends, and I was like, I don't want anyone to tell my mom that I was doing that. And I remember one friend that I told that I actually was like, oh, I like to like smoke weed and stuff. She was like so shocked. She was like, don't ever tell your parents that you do that. And she's like, because she's like, I feel like people see you as so innocent and like so like timid that if people found that out, they'd see you in such a different eye. And I was like, what's wrong with that? She's
but
like,
if you were drinking every day, they'd be like, oh, she's such a good girl.
it's fine. Yeah. And that's why, I don't know. That's why I feel like I never really would talk about it, especially amongst like family friends. Cause it's always like, I felt that was the energy that I would get, is that it's bad. It's really bad if you do it, you know? Yeah. Which is why I just never was like, I never mentioned it.
It reiterates kind of what Brandon is saying, where it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, you have so many people telling you that if you do this, you're a fucking bad person. You're this drug addict. You're this like thug, right? But then when you are with people who are super cool with it, they're like, oh my God, it's so great. It's like this miracle drug. And that's not true either. It's a lot of the more and more research that comes out, it has the same pros and cons as it does as using drinking, you know? It's like you said, it's not good for your lungs. It's not good for your mind if you use it all the time. It obviously, some of the liquid stays in your lungs. It's bad for your body. It's just with anything, moderation is key, you know? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you got to praise the weed, but it doesn't mean you also got to hate on it either. It's like if... I don't know, like how people get addicted to like Oxycontin and stuff, right? Yeah. There's a reasonable reason why people are using that drug, but it's all about abuse and your mentality around it.
Well, I think we're biased too because we live in Los Angeles.
True.
And it's legal here, but it's not federally legal. Like it's still like in states, it's not federally legal. Yeah. And so I feel like when the prohibition ended, like the 1920s. So there's 100 years of like a relationship with alcohol. You know, even though everybody kind of agrees alcohol, you shouldn't like drink every day, like crazy, like. But you know, there's that history, you know. But that's why I think people are more comfortable with it, because like there's generations of people who kind of did that, you know. I mean, there's even wine in church, you know. It's everywhere. Like imagine if you went to church and they're like, "Yo, take a hit,
take the stizzy hit,
take a hit," you know.
God would have wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Like
the breath of Christ.
Like it's pretty new. Like it's pretty new that it's legal. You know, it's a new thing, so I don't think people are very comfortable with it. And then the smoking thing too, it's like there's that bad connotation, rightfully so, with like cigarettes and stuff. Yeah. And it, you know,
have you ever heard that joke that's like, oh, like a pothead's trying to justify why you should smoke weed, and it's like it's the sped up, like blah 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 blah, blah. And then it's like cigarettes. This will give you cancer, and people smoke them anyways.
Yeah.
Well, because also like people have the argument that it's like naturally grown, like it's a plant. Yeah. You know? And people are like, it's a plant. Like God gave this to us.
Yeah. Except, well, that's what's crazy too, is that weeds become even more genetically modified and full of pesticides. So it's not even a natural thing anymore. It's more man-made than it is naturally occurring. That's one of the things that blows my mind that people talk about, is that the weed that we have now is pretty much a genetic modified monster than what it was in the 60s or the 70s when they were smoking that straight grass, literally like grass, probably had like 12% THC. Yeah. You know, and that's not me glazing the older generation, because I mean the old generation did like lead and shit.
So was it better?
My opinion on it is that, you know, back in the day it was less potent. So like you could smoke more and you're smoking less, but like now it's extremely potent and it's super concentrated. So I feel like maybe one hit is the equivalent of like 2 joints back then, you know? And I feel like it's probably easier to pace yourself and shit. Like, I don't know. The thing that makes me feel weird is like, you know how in pens, like it's just liquid? Yeah. For me, that always gives me a funny feeling, because I'm like, is this even like weed anymore? It's probably just concentrated like the chemical, you know?
THC.
Yeah, you know? So it's, I don't know.
I feel like if I'm speaking along like bad trips, I feel like when I would smoke a pen, that's when I would get a bad trip. Like, and that's when it would hurt the most. Like it would hurt my like lungs, like physically. I just cough. Like I would cough like constantly. Like that was my thing on pens. On like weed, like a joint. I love weed. Okay, like
she's coming out. Oh my god,
I love weed. Like I love flower. Like you can never go wrong with flower. But like I'd be fine on flower. Like I feel like flower was just like my thing of like, man, I'm at peace. Like I'm good. I'm vibing. And then edibles are chill. Like that's edibles like my chill. At least for me, they're chill. I feel like maybe because I started at like an older age, like I didn't start doing it until I went to college, that like I knew my limits. So like if like now I still do, like when you guys are or like when we're like smoking or whatever with like friends, like I know when I'm high, which is funny. I know when I'm high when I start sneezing. Like that's when I know I'm high. I realize that now.
It's true.
That, like every time I start sneezing, that's when I'm like I'm high.
It's probably because you can feel your nose follicle.
And then from there, that's when I know that's my limit. Like from there, I don't do like anymore. So I've learned to like limit myself now. I mean, even now I hardly do it, but I've learned that when I do it, I limit myself. But that's why I slowly started learning, which is why I don't buy the pens as much anymore. I'll do it like every once in a while. Maybe I'll give in. I'll be like, fuck it. Like I just wanna get high. But it always just hurts. It always hurts me, and I feel like I do like just start thinking too much. Like overthinking a lot.
Well, Huberman's lab, that's what he mentioned. He said that the worst way that you can smoke marijuana is the dab pens. He said because that's just concentrated THC. He says that at this point you can almost buy pure THC. He said that that's like what he thinks is the most harmful one because it's just straight THC to the brain, like within 30 seconds flat, just boom, just fucking hits you. And he's like, it just could be very disorienting. I think for a lot of people, it could be very frightening and can induce a lot of paranoia. I like how you guys are both are like nodding your head.
Because I'm just like, well, to me, I'm just like, and y'all were taking fucking blinkers, bro. That's why.
Blinkers are bad for you. For those of you out there who take blinkers are not good for you. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, you're going to get too high. No, I mean, they're physically harming your health. What a blinker is that the pen is basically overheating. So the battery is starting to not only burn some of the THC, so you get less of the THC and it burns off into vapor. It also crusts the coil that burns the wax. So after a while, you start smoking the little rust that's coming out of the coil. So for those of you out there who take blinkers, PSA, don't take them. They don't make you higher. They don't make you cooler. They just make you worse.
This guy. He's educating. He's educating now.
I'm educating.
No, I know. I just think it's like, it's not funny, but it's just more like, I don't know, that you know in detail. Like,
bro,
he went into it.
Yeah,
Okay,
So what happens is in the factories, they have to input, like, I don't know.
I'm a very, if I'm going to put something into my body, I have to be educated. I can't just pretend like it'll be all okay. Like, I know all the facts. That's what everybody should do, man. If you're going to put something in your body, you're going to take something, know the facts, know what you're going to do. Because why not? Might as well know. At least, because then what? You're going to be uncomfortable? I don't want to do this anymore. All right, then. You shouldn't have done it in the first place. You know? That's just my bit of advice. As a fully developed individual, as of 2 weeks.
Of being 25.
That's what my brain is telling me.
That's why he did the research, bro.
Wow.
I was like,
his frontal lobe fully developed, and he was like, you know what? I need to be smarter about things.
I woke up literally like a vampire, and I was like, oh my God, I need to learn everything about everything. But moving on, it's kind of related, semi. I saw a take recently.
A take?
Yeah. Okay. That said that this is the difference between our generations. Is that the older generation was able to admit that they were addicts, that they were drunks, that they were alcoholics. But that the newer generation tries to gaslit themselves and others that they don't have a problem. Do you guys agree, disagree, elaborate?
Interesting.
I feel like
It's because I'm in between generations, so.
True. When you look to the left, to the past generations, and then you look to the right.
Because it's weird. Because I feel like the younger generation, I feel like they kind of fight on like saying that you are addicted. Like, I feel like they fight a little more to speak out on like certain things, which is why I'm kind of like, I don't know. I do see the whole gaslighting thing.
I think we're both the same. I think any like, oh no, our generation. I feel like nah. I think
you guys
we're
are
both
just
the
like
same.
us.
You feel like we're exactly the same. Because the reason I think we're the same is I think about like smoking and drinking for the past generation. Like smoking, bro. Like smoking is good for you. Like if anyone who's anybody smokes, you know. And then when everybody was like, nah, like that's not good for you, they're like, what? Like what are you talking about? Or like seatbelts.
I knew the whole time, bro. The seatbelts is crazy.
The seatbelt thing when before seatbelts were mandatory. Like people were like, what? Like you're gonna take away my freedom and shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like it's the exact same shit. Like with smoking vapes or like smoking weed. People are like, what? What are you talking about? This shit's awesome. I don't know if you should always do that.
Yeah.
Nah. I don't know.
I feel like it is. I feel like what happened is they just got older, and
literally what I was gonna say. That's literally what I was gonna say.
I think because that's just how I see it. As like you were talking, I was just like, I feel like I feel like when they were at our age, they'd be like, what the fuck, like, bro, let's just do it. Like, who gives a fuck? But I think now that they're older, they're like, think smarter, like, bro, like, don't do that. It's bad for you. And I think that's why
whatever,
now,
old man.
But yeah, I think that's why now the older generation is a little more like admitting to that because now they're older. But I feel like when they were younger, they were probably like, nah, shit. They were probably the same as us.
Bro, like, people used to drink and drive like regularly. Like the government had to come in and be like, don't do that. And people were like, what? What are you talking about? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And
you're restricting my freedom?
And now today people are like, bro, I love getting high and driving, you know? Like, and people are like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Like, nah,
it's not the same.
Yeah. So I feel like, I don't know. I think we're the same.
It's been proven too, research. I'm sorry, I'm such a dork zord. Do the nerd emoji. You guys can pull out the nerd emoji on the comments. But research has shown that weed does slow your reactiveness to certain things, so it does impair your driving, unfortunately.
So don't smoke and drive.
People are gonna do it anyways. You can do it. I'm not a don't do that. I'm just letting you know that's the fact.
But like with that too, I feel like that's pretty common sense. Like I feel like you're inebriated. Like you're kind of like you just talked about the coffee thing. Like, oh, I couldn't feel the temperature change. Let me get behind this death machine and like, you know. So that's why I'm like, I feel like it's pretty. It's obvious. Different, bro. It's pretty obvious, no. That's why I'm like, when people are like, nah, this generation is like gaslighting themselves. I feel like they did the same shit.
You know why earlier I was laughing? Because Stevie's a bad influence, but yet he's educating people. You know.
That's crazy.
Bad influence allegations, bro. Are you gonna beat them?
I am gonna beat them. You know why? Because my older sister is my older sister, so I gotta do what she tells me to. That's just part of the family dynamic. Nice. Anything that I am is simply because I was taught by an older, much more experienced person in my life.
He smoked before me, though.
What? She's really bringing out all the receipts.
That's a lot of allegations.
That is a lot of allegations.
Beat the allegations.
Please. Verdict? Brandon, verdict?
I hope he beats him.
You're the judge.
I don't know, Brandon.
Is Steve a bad influence?
The verdict?
I'm not going to say he's a bad influence, but Steve is very good at peer pressure. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
He was in court and he pointed at me.
I didn't say you were a bad influence.
Do you see the man in this room?
Damn, I know. You literally did that.
Like Goodfellas?
Yeah. And then I'm just... Damn, that's crazy. You're right, bro. You're right. You didn't give me the guilty verdict, but you might as well have. You're like,
he was there when it happened. But like, I didn't say he killed anybody.
He's in this room, but he was. So what? He's in a lot of rooms.
He's in every room.
Okay, well, just moving on to my final part of my segment. I wanted to show you guys. You guys have probably already heard this. If you haven't heard it, it's kind of shocking. According to the census, by 2026, over 1 in 4 Americans will be Latinos. The census projects. This comes from ABC News and NBC News and a lot of news outlets that have reported on this. Right now, as it stands, Hispanics are now 19.1% of the U.S. population. but are projected to make up 26.9% of the population in nearly 4 decades. So it's basically 27%. And I wanted to ask you guys, how does it feel to take this tremendous dub today?
Take a tremendous dub.
When is it happening?
When is it happening? It's happening right now, bro. But they say that by...
I feel like that makes sense. I
Yeah,
feel like
Latinos have big families. That's not a stereotype, is it?
I think so.
Is
Might
it?
be. It might be.
But
yeah.
but all my Mexican friends have big families.
I think maybe, but like I don't know.
But that's you, bro.
We'll just move on from that. What was the question? What was the question you asked?
How do you guys feel about taking this tremendous dub?
I feel like that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Why does
I
it
feel
make
like,
sense?
because I feel like there's we've talked about
Racist.
it before. Like what even does Latino mean? Like I feel like when I was a kid, I thought the Latino like branch was very small. Like I thought it was just like Mexico. And like you know, but getting older it's like, oh, it's a lot of like there's a lot of people who fit under that branch.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a good thing. That's just more I'm like, that makes sense. That's a lot of people.
You're right. In a way, it kind of makes me mad now. Because you're right. Because they just be throwing anybody into the Latino branch. You know what I mean?
Aren't French people Latino?
I think it's Italian.
Oh,
people.
Italian.
No, but Latino comes from French people. Because the root word of Latino is Latin. And Latin is, I think, Italian, French, German, and something else. Like Greek and
Irish?
stuff. No, it's just no, not Irish. That doesn't sound familiar.
No,
That doesn't
yeah.
ring a bell. That doesn't ring a bell.
As a kid, I thought Latino was pretty much just Mexico and like Spain. And then, but now I'm older. I'm like, it's all these other guys.
Yeah,
and that's good.
they just put anybody in there, bro, and that's what makes me mad because it erases our identity. So it kind of, I know it is kind of weird. Well, because that's what they don't understand. That's what the news doesn't understand is that the reason why it seems like that's so much of the population is because the U.S. literally throws anybody into that branch, and it makes me mad.
So then is it a dub?
It's a dub. Well, okay, so I've actually thought about this recently because I've met a lot more people who aren't Mexican American but are quote unquote Latino American, right? They come from the other countries, our sister and brother countries, if you want to call them that. And I thought about that, like, yeah, it sucks that our identity is erased and kind of meshed into one, but a lot of people seem to really embrace that, like, new, like, microcosm of identity. Like, it feels as though somebody who is Puerto Rican or Mexican and Colombian, they all share in this experience where they feel as though, like, oh, you know, I enjoy Latino, quote unquote, Latino music. You know, I enjoy Bad Bunny, or I enjoy Raúl Alejandro, you know, like Puerto Rican music, but yet they're all not Puerto Rican, you know, but yet they feel this sort of like brotherhood. In that sense, I think it's changed my perspective a little bit, where I'm like, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, I feel like we have our differences that I can't fully get on board just yet.
Yeah.
I think I have to see a little bit more. Maybe when 1 in 4 people are Latinos, maybe then I'll feel it. I'll be like, you know what? There is some kind of like what's the word? Like alliance, like family, like
Unity.
environment here.
But I think
Unity.
that's, I hope, generally like a net positive. Everybody becomes more mixed, and there's less of a like us versus them. Because like I'm also, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I hope.
People say that's one way to bring world peace is that we all just intermix and become a one race.
I don't know. People are creative though. I hope there's not like, oh, he's got, I don't know. I don't know. What do we even discriminate at this point?
He's not. He's 33% Latino. I'm only 7% Latino.
I think it'll be like, he's not cybernetically enhanced. Fuck that guy, you know?
It's always, people say that the biggest thing that's always separated us is
rich
more,
and poor.
Yeah, more money. It's
but that's
more
why
about
the rich will be cybernetically enhanced, and they'll scapegoat it to being like,
and then discriminatory.
They'll probably call you a natural.
Look
Like
that natty over there.
Natural.
Unnatural.
Look at that.
You know,
gross. You would get married to a natural?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, so what's a natural?
Someone who's not
cybernetically enhanced.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, the more I think about it, as funny as it is, it makes sense because it's like if you're hiring someone for a job, and it's like, well, one guy is cybernetically enhanced
And
to
he
have
can
an
learn-
extremely reactive body and memory. The other guy's a natural. He could be cool, but I want to play it safe. I'll
Makes
go to
sense.
the
Makes
robotic
sense.
guy.
Yeah.
That's actually genuinely gonna happen. Like, it's blowing my mind. That's exactly what's gonna
But
happen.
only
Or it
rich
might
people
not.
can.
It
can
might or
do
might
that.
not.
Or it might
It might not. Maybe
Or
they
not.
maybe they get something like just a short circuit and then just throw water on
I'm
them.
dead. It's
Yeah.
what we said about AI, no?
What do you
And
mean?
it's happening.
Yeah.
Bro, it's so funny. You guys can all, everybody listening and watching, you guys can look this up. We were like basically like doomsaying, like doomers. We were saying on the old show, like, oh my god, when AI is out, it's gonna be the end of the world. Now that it's out, it's actually kind of neat.
I think
like-
I think it's fun to be a doomer. I think it's
I'm
fun to be a
dead.
little bit of a doomer. You know?
You think it's fun?
It's a little
Well,
fun.
he prepares.
It's a little fun.
It's only fun because you know if it happens, you're ready.
Because here's my thing about it. Because
Okay,
like
let me
if
see.
it happens, like I'm ready and I saw it coming, haha. And if I'm wrong, then
I'm
thank
dead.
God, no? Like
Thank God.
thank God I'm wrong.
Oh, so it's a net positive, as
Yeah,
you say?
Generally speaking, no.
For you specifically, it's a
Yeah.
net positive.
Yeah.
It's like
know?
either I
Plus,
was.
I feel like being a doomer gives you like a tortured soul kind of vibe. Like,
Is it-
he's thinking about crazy
Is it
shit.
that you?
That guy's
Is,
mysterious.
is it that you became that, or like your family taught you that?
Or God made you that way.
I think
One of those three.
I think God
Like, is
made-
your
I
dad
thi-
like that?
I think God made me that way for some reason.
Oh, but your dad is
No, I don't
your dad
think my
wasn't
family's
like.
that. He was very much like that's cool, but he was never like that. I think that was just I don't know. I think that kind of just fell out of the sky. God made me that way.
I'm
Bro actually
dead.
chose option C.
Well, because I was just curious because I'm like, so then is your dad like that, and that's how you kind of became like, is your family like that, and
No.
that's how you kind of like.
No.
That's why you are?
like I remember.
It's just
I
you?
have vivid memories like of being a kid and being like. The one I always remember is they had this commercial for California. It's like, "Are you ready for the big one, the big earthquake?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "I'm not. Like, I'm not." Like, and then I'd always be like, "Mom, like, we gotta do something.
We gotta
about
lock
this."
in.
And they'd be like, "What do you like? Who cares? Like, what's gonna happen?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I care." So I would like always be like, I don't know. I'd be like, "Mom, we need to have 3 weeks worth of water." And I don't know.
You know what's so funny? I remember being a little kid and talking to you about 2012 and being convinced that that shit was gonna happen. And so what's weird to me is that I remember being a little kid and being a little bit like, damn, like what if the world ends? What if it's a zombie apocalypse? Like what if we gotta like scourge for like our
I
own
was like
food?
the wolf. that
Yeah,
year.
but like I figured like, oh, I just got older and I grew out of it. And then you stayed the same. You were like, no, bro. What if World War III is right around the corner? What if these AIs take over?
Yeah, I feel like it's cool.
I thought you would just grow out of it, I guess.
Because then if it does happen, then I'm Rick Grimes. you
Who's
know?
laughing now?
Yeah, who's laughing? And then if I'm wrong, like, oh, ooh, thank God. You
He
know?
was over prepared.
Yeah.
I hope
Oh,
if-
sorry.
If the apocalypse ever happens, I'm just gonna be thinking, Brandon, that guy.
Yeah,
That'll
don't
be-
come
that'll
crawling
be-
to me for help.
That'll be my last thought. Or I'll go to your house.
He'll be gone. What do you mean?
I'll be
He'll
long
be-
gone.
He'll be ahead of the curve, and then we'll find his room, and then I'm gonna be, damn, where is he? And then I punch the wall, and
Oh,
then
there
but
was-
it's like my hand goes through it.
Like Shawshank
And-
Redemption.
yeah, and then I open it, and it's like a cave, and in the cave he has like all the blueprints. He predicted what
Like,
day,
that was insane. Just carving on the walls.
and then finally the map on there. It's like a forest in like up California.
Oh, and you find your way to me.
Yeah, and then
That'd be
I was
cool.
like, he said he's around here, but I don't see anything. And then I kick a rock, and then like a secret passageway opens, and it's like, damn, bro, how much money did it take?
Or I was just insane. Just carving on walls and shit.
I'm dead.
there's like a shit corner. You just took open shits in the middle of the cave.
I don't know. I like that image. It's like you just carving on the walls. It's
But
like,
yeah, 1 in 4 Latinos by 2060, guys. Isn't
I
that
love how
crazy?
it turned into that.
Hey, bro, it's
on the
related.
walls. Do like cave painting.
Not the cave paintings. That's
like-
crazy.
I don't know, like the tally marks. Like what was he counting?
What day is
was he
it?
counting? What day it is?
I was like, damn, did you lock yourself in here
Like
once?
a map of the stars.
There's just like little scratch marks, like you were scratching out.
I'm dead.
But Julie, what did you bring
Yeah, what do you got?
for the sweet?
All right. So I guess for the first part, I'll say, so I've been watching this show. And So I was just curious because I also thought about the other show. What's it called? The one with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, what is it? Dahmer, no?
Yeah, Dahmer, and what? Who plays him? Who plays him?
Evan Peters.
Evan
Yeah, and you know
Peters.
how he also got hate for like playing that character.
Yeah.
Sure.
So in this specific show too, there's a character who plays and he basically is like he sexually assaults a lot of girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the show. And when the show was happening, he actually started getting a lot of hate because of the character that he played. And so what I wanted to ask you guys is, why do you think people get mad at actors when they play an evil or horrible person on a show or movie? And I just thought, like, to me, I was just, the whole time I was just thinking, like, oh, they were just that good that, like, people actually believed that was
like
who they were.
Yeah.
But that was just my thoughts. What do you guys think?
I think that it's two things. I feel like one of the things is when people find it to be unnecessary. One of the ones that I remember learning about in school was Blade Runner. There's like an assault scene in that movie that a lot of people have a very big problem with, and people find to be like extremely unnecessary in the movie. Like it doesn't really do anything for the plot.
Yeah.
So in those cases, I think that's why people get mad. Is just like, why did that character have to do that? But I get what you're asking. Like if that is the character, I think the other reason people get mad about it is if that character is kind of being like romanticized a little bit. Like, oh, why is the actor like he ripped and he's like hot as fuck and like he's like, you know, like why are
Pretty
you
boy.
why are you romanticizing this character
Yeah.
when clearly it's like a bad person, you know? So I think that's where people kind of get upset about it.
Yeah, because they assume that if all hands were on deck, if everybody was like, this is completely insensitive, this is fucked up, to glorify and make this killer famous again and make him this pop figure, then the actors themselves should have put their foot down and should have been like, no, I protest this movie, I'm not even going to be on it. But I think that it also goes into the argument of separating the art from the artist. I think it goes the same way. It goes back to that, where it's very controversial, where you could argue that well, I don't know, that's hard, because I remember the Dahmer thing when it came out. I was very caught in between, because it is true. I mean, if you were my sister and you got killed by Jeffrey Dahmer and I saw fucking Evan Peters playing him, like I'd go crazy. Like my brain would snap in half, because I'm just like, that's fucking insane. You guys are really gonna get this hot actor to play the guy who killed my sister? Like, that's completely insensitive. Like, that's fucked up, man. So I get it, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around what's the justification more for like these type of shows. Because do you guys see any value in these type of shows?
I've never really watched those kinds of things.
Me neither.
And I feel like the ones that I have watched have never glorified the. Like I remember, I remember Mindhunter.
Yeah.
And that one, like the guys were weirdos. Like they were like weirdos and freaks, and it wasn't ever like I don't know, like Charlie Manson came out and he's like shredded and he's like, what's up, you know?
No, he was weird. He looked like he smelled.
He was weird and he looked stinky and there's like flies around him or whatever, you know?
For sure. They made
so
him
I've never really watched that kind of media,
Yeah.
you know? Or like, what was the one that Zac Efron did? Ted Bundy?
Oh, yeah.
You know? I've never really watched the ones where like,
it was with big actors.
Well, not specifically big actors, but just where they get hit with the allegations of like you're glorifying the guy, like you're turning him into like kind of like a comic book character almost. Yeah, you know. So I think that's where people have issues.
Yeah,
because go ahead.
No, yeah. Well, because I was just gonna say in the show that I'm watching, it's based off a book, and the only reason I watched the show is because when I was in high school, I wanted to read the book. But my friend had told me that the book wasn't like that good or something like that. She said she made a comment about the book, which made me not want to read it. And then they developed it into a series. And so I wanted to watch it because I was like, oh, they finally made the book into a series. I'll just watch it instead of reading it. And so I watched it, and like in the show, they don't really like glorify like sexual assault or anything. It's kind of like the typical like high school thing of like the jocks kind of get away with everything because they run the school, right? A lot of high schools get a lot of their money from like their sports programs, right? Or like that's what is said, right? And so this guy, he has money, like his family has money. They donate a lot of money to the school, especially to the sports, like what do you call it? Like the sports side of the school. And which is why they kind of like protect him a lot. And so in the show, that's why he kind of like gets away with all of it. Because he does it like multiple times and people are like, no, he doesn't do it. People are lying. And so I guess to me, it's also like, I guess in that sense of what you guys are saying, to me, I think people get mad because he gets away in the show. Like he gets away with it, right? And I think people are mad, which kind of, but to me, that still doesn't make sense as to like why they blame the actor specifically for like, getting mad of the character that he played. You know, because people were like, oh, you're also like, you know, the sexual assaulter. Like you guys are this.
I think that the like sometimes like it's valid to be mad at the actor. Like let's say the character, they were like, oh, he's in blackface, and the actor's like, well, I didn't do it, I was just the actor, you know. Like in that case you can get mad at the actor. But I think there's like the unfortunate reality that the actor's kind of like the face. So obviously like the guys behind the scenes, like they're just a name, I don't know what they look like, so I'm just getting mad at the actor, you know. So I think that's like an unfortunate reality of doing that kind of thing. Yeah. But I also think with those kinds of like very shocking, or I guess uncomfortable subjects, I think they're really hard to do. Like I think they're a lot harder to do than people realize. Yeah. And I feel like to some degree, I feel like people are valid to be a little bit upset when that kind of stuff happens. You know, like I feel like, yeah, I think you're valid to be upset about that kind of stuff. It's like with the joke thing. Like I feel like you can make art and talk about topics what you want, but you can't also be like expect no reaction. Yeah. You know, I feel like if it's a movie or if it's a show, I have always felt like the purpose was to get a reaction out of the audience. And if you're portraying something negative and you're getting a negative reaction, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know.
Like it's deserved. Obviously, like whatever your actions and whatever you say isn't free of consequences. Kind of like what we talked about last week. I think people are free to be upset or feel any type of way. Yeah. Unfortunately, even if you feel like as an actor, you're like, what did I do? Unfortunately, people are like, it's just the art, you know, it's the art that's in there. And I think you're just like the scapegoat. Yeah. I get it though. I get it if you're an actor and being frustrated with like, man, like I didn't actually kill people. Yeah. Like I totally understand that. It's just more in the sense of I guess it's two things. If it's a fiction series or movie or whatever, I think it's a pat on the back that people thought you played it too well. It's a for sure. It's a form of a compliment. But if it's like a real one, that it's like you're portraying like Jeffrey Dahmer or something, and people are like out to get you. I think you should have kind of expected that. Yeah, you should have expected a little backlash. Yeah, you're playing kind of a very serious character. I don't think that you should. I don't think any of these actors feel like, oh my god, like I didn't know he kills people in the show. If it's a real guy, they know.
What else were people mad about with the Dahmer one? Is that he's like the main guy too, right? It's like from his perspective.
I do remember that his dad was also upset. Like the actual dad
of Jeffrey Dahmer
was upset about like them coming out with like a series about it. Yeah. I can't remember exactly why. I think it was his dad though. Because I remember reading about it and there was a lot of things coming out because of that. And it was because people were saying like they were kind of glorifying everything. Like especially putting someone who I guess, because I don't know. I mean the whole thing with like even the Ted Bundy where they were like, oh, they made Zac Efron be Ted Bundy, and that's because they said that Ted Bundy was so handsome that's how he like got a lot of women. But yeah, I can't remember what else it was.
Because that happened a minute ago, the Dahmer.
Yeah. I also think it's a little bit of a lack of accountability from the mainstream audience, because shows like this wouldn't exist if there wasn't an audience craving for it. And that's where I just look at more of like sociology and psychology of people, where some people are naturally clean. Because like we said, we don't watch that shit. Yeah. But some people do, and there's an audience out there for that type of content. Yeah. And I think about that audience, that fandom, what type of people are those? And should Netflix have really pandered towards those people? It's literally as if there was like there's an audience out there for gore and like torture.
I guess I think with that is the people who like have a problem with it is that when you make these kind of shows, the only way it's kind of palatable for that kind of audience is that if you kind of pretty up the killer. Like, you know?
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
Like, if they got, like, a fucking butt ugly dude to play Jeffrey Dahmer and, like, he was kind of like this weirdo freak, you know?
I feel
It's
like,
like, I feel like it wouldn't be as, like,
it would creep them out.
compelling.
It would creep them out too,
Yeah,
a little
and
too
that's
much,
why I
think
a little more than it already
Yeah,
is.
That's
but
why it's justified, right?
That's why I think people were kind of upset when they got the handsome and talented Evan
Evan
Peters.
Peters.
And
He's
like
a good actor.
and I'm exaggerating. Jeffrey Dahmer's like ripped and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
And he came out in what is it? American Horror Story,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
but I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just explaining why I think people are upset about it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I feel like with that, it is a little tough because there's just a lot of history and there's people who were genuinely affected by it, you know, compared to like something that's like
Recently,
fictional,
too.
you know, that's
Yeah.
something. I don't even think the book was based on anything. I think it was just like a story.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, but I don't think it really was based on anything. But I think that's why it's harder for other people to like kind of rewatch and rehear the story of how your kid died, you know?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that one scene of, I think it's like the black kid that he like
Yeah.
took.
And he's like, it's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
like he drugged and then he eventually like killed. To think that, I think because even the mom is in, I think it's the mom. It's either the mom or the sister is in the story, like in there, because I think she's in court. I haven't really watched it, but I've seen just clips of it. And again, I might be wrong about it. But it's just like to think that like you're kind of rewatching even the court scenes of like what actually happened. And those are actual people, you know? I think with those are a little harder to like kind of like you understand why they're mad about them, you know? It's just crazy. It is crazy though. The people who are really, really into those kinds of like shows though.
Yeah.
Because I never watched it either. I just saw like just clips and like about it. I watched like the other ones, like like Mindhunter and
Yeah, if you guys want to watch a
like,
real show about serial killing, watch Mindhunter. Even though
Mindhunter was
never
really
gonna be
interesting.
finished.
Yeah, that's the only thing that sucks if you watch it is that it's not done.
there's never gonna be a third season.
Yeah,
They
but it was a
already
really good
said.
show though, because it really
was.
it really got you to thinking about like a lot of things.
Yeah.
About serial killers.
Yeah.
Zodiac's good too.
Yeah.
The Fincher one. That was
Yeah.
good. But it wasn't even the guy, which I always think is interesting.
Oh yeah, because the real life.
That one's kind of creepy.
Well,
though.
because it is creepy, but in that whole movie, they're like, I'm not saying it's this guy, but I would put that guy in jail. But then, like
In real
last
life,
year,
it
they're
really
like,
wasn't.
It genuinely wasn't that guy.
But isn't that
Yeah.
even more impressive? Goes to show you how like insane the Zodiac case was. That even movies, documentaries about it didn't get it right.
I just think it's interesting to have been that guy where he's like, I literally didn't do anything. Like,
Bro,
and then
he
they make a whole
watched.
movie?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
watched that movie.
he even
He reviewed it,
Did he
yeah.
review
Yeah,
it?
he
Yeah,
reviewed it.
He said it was
reviewed all of
mid.
Yeah, he said it was mid. That's crazy.
That's just what that one gives me
The universe,
for sure
bro.
the
Like,
creepy vibes.
yeah, I know, right?
Because
you
it's the
chills.
fact that he was still like around, and then it's the Facebook picture of
Yeah.
that like admits it and stuff.
I think
That
it's-
one's just,
I
like,
think
disturbing.
I think it's crazy
That
that
one's
his friend
disturbing,
was
bro.
like new. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's the
What did he
picture-
say?
He said, "What? You're the Zodiac killer?" He's in the comment. He's like,
Mhm.
"What Zodiac? Crazy."
Oh
don't
yeah.
know.
Before it
Yeah.
ever released,
Yeah,
he's
That
like,
shit
this
was
guy's a
wild.
killer or something, right?
yeah, he's a killer.
And then they say that it was always there in the letters, no, like his name.
I think so. Yeah, I
right?
think that's how they solved it. That his name is actually in every letter.
Yeah,
That's wild. And
What-
he got
it's
got
got
away
Gary
with it.
something,
He
right?
got away
Yeah.
with it too. He just died of like being old,
yeah.
Yeah, but I think he supposedly had like
dementia.
dementia or something. Yeah, in the
So he didn't even remember what he did.
dude, that's crazy.
That's wild.
I think he probably was like getting tortured by his thoughts. That's what I like to think. I like to think that bad people get what they get.
I don't know. I think that's interesting. I was gonna talk about this on the show. This is just a brief side note. I was watching There Will Be Blood yesterday,
Oh, that's a
and
good
it
movie.
was the scene where Daniel Plainview, the guy, the main character,
Yeah.
he finds out that the other guy who shows up isn't his brother, and so he shoots him in the face, and then he just kind of goes about life. And I was just like, how does that not eat you up? Like, how does that not like keep you up at night that you straight up just killed a guy?
I honestly think it always does.
You think it always does?
Yeah, I just think it's some people are just masters at thugging it out.
Yeah.
Some people just can just thug it out, but I think it stays with you. I think it stays in the back of your mind. I mean, I think about stuff.
Do you think it's always been like that? Do you think like back in the day when like killing was more acceptable, like that didn't matter? Because I tried to Google like what's the scientific evolutionary advantage of a guilty conscience, and I don't know. I got a bunch of like
A bunch of live, laugh, love.
Yeah, I got a bunch of this, and I was like, I feel like that's not the answer I wanted. Because
I got a
like,
bunch of this.
I got a bunch of you know?
I imagine it's just teamwork. It helps you develop relationships.
Because I was just like, is it like, I don't know, is it case by case or is it universal? Like if a caveman killed like his homie, would he feel bad or would
I think it's universal. Or
would he be like, nah, fuck that guy?
Nah, I think it's universal.
Ooga
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like humans feel, and then like they can. I think there's just something that happens where you kind of just die from the feeling,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I feel like, yeah. Where like, I think you're so shocked that you don't like care anymore. I feel like that's how I see it.
Yeah,
because
that's just because I think about like, because you know how There Will Be Blood's a period piece and takes place in like the early 1900s.
For sure, yeah.
I was like, people used to do some like wild shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Like burn witches at the stake. And they're like, fuck yeah. Like,
bro, I have a crazy story to tell you off
know?
camera after this episode.
Yeah.
In relation to this.
Interesting.
Remind me, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Maybe I'll say it in the Patreon if you guys subscribe. But yeah.
But yeah, that was just my side note.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, getting on to the next topic. Have y'all heard about Josh? What is it?
Josh
Giddey.
Giddey. And he's dating that he allegedly has been dating an underage girl.
I have heard about this.
So you guys know that he's 21.
Yeah.
Right?
21.
Yeah.
And then the girl is
Allegedly
15.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is wild. That's really wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it came up because somebody made an Instagram page, right? And like posted everything.
Someone anonymously, basically, who I think probably most likely goes to school with the underage girl.
Yeah.
Finally had enough. He was like, this dude's stealing all my girls.
Damn.
And bro, that's what people were saying. Because did you see?
It's a dude? It's a...
No,
I think it got anonymously leaked.
Yeah.
But the evidence is it's him. It's a bunch of like Instagram posts of her being like them together. And there's one where he's like shirtless and very clearly like they were doing stuff, So...
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of them are like pictures and videos of like... Some of them look like Snapchats.
And it's very
like
clearly him. Like there's one where he's like, "Yo, Josh Giddey here." Oh, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm dead.
Did you see? They also released that he actually got a speeding ticket around the high school that the girl is from.
Oh,
I think like a while ago. I don't want to say a few years because that's even worse.
Yeah.
But I know he got a speeding ticket. Somebody revealed it because obviously that's all public record. Somebody revealed that he got it literally on. It's like something Franklin High School. And the girl is literally from that high school.
Yeah.
And people were making jokes about like, damn, this dude was really trying to flex on a bunch of like underage kids. Like, look how fast I can go.
Yeah.
It's weird, bro, because it's really weird because I think it'll be more weird if it gets proven to be true and the NBA does nothing about the allegations.
I also saw like yesterday that somebody from the NBA said that they've known that the team has known for a while.
Damn.
Supposedly, I don't know if that's true.
You know what? I think I did hear about it. That he's the one who admitted it to them and told them like, but like I swear, like I'm not gonna talk to her anymore because she lied about her age, right? That's supposedly what it is.
Yeah.
That supposedly that he did tell the organization because when he found out that she lied about her age, allegedly, that he was like, holy fuck, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And he told the organization right away. So the organization has known for a little bit. It just got leaked. Supposedly. This is all alleged.
Supposedly, yeah, the organization has known for a minute and they haven't done anything.
Damn.
And it's just now that. And he officially like addressed it because some reporter asked him about it and he was like, no comment right now.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I think I saw. I think I saw.
Oh, and he's played. And have you seen the videos where he's getting booed the whole time?
No.
Yeah, they announced like, oh, he will be playing, and that's another thing that people found like really distasteful because people were like, why is he playing? Like,
well, because when it first came out, he only got suspended for like a couple games, no? Or he didn't
at all.
Nothing.
He didn't get anything?
No, he played the day the allegations came out.
Yeah, that's why it was like big news because people were like, he's still playing.
Because I remember people were talking about it and people were saying that he did get like
suspended. No, he hasn't gotten anything.
No, the only thing that's happened is the NBA announces that they're doing an investigation, but he's still playing and like nothing's really happened to him yet.
I know people are saying that like, people are like, oh, like who was it?
John Morant?
Yeah, like
how he
How he,
but Okay, so with that is a lot of people are saying like, why did he get reprimanded so quickly, but nothing happened to Josh Giddey? I feel like something should have happened to Josh Giddey. I feel like he shouldn't be playing. Like he should be suspended until like that's cleared up or whatever happens. But I feel like there's a lot of context missing with what Ja did that people also forget. Like he beat up like an underage kid and like he pulled a gun on the little kid, and the NBA also didn't really do anything for a bit with that. So I think people are forgetting that it wasn't just that he flashed a gun. Like, that was the like the final straw before he got his, like, because they told him a bunch of times, chill out with that. But there was a bunch of other incidences leading up to that that people, in my opinion, kind of like forget about, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, there was a lot of that. Wasn't the reason. It was just one of many reasons that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
But I just go ahead, Jen.
No, yeah, and I was gonna say there was something else that came out that said that according to like the investigation and all that, that allegedly the girl and her family are reportedly refusing to cooperate with authorities
Because he probably paid them off.
Yeah.
Because he more than likely that if they're refusing, it's because they probably had a out of court agreement based around money. That's just what it is. That's just, as somebody who like grew up in America, that's just how celebrities get out of their shit. They settle out of court.
Wild.
Yeah, that's what I genuinely think it is.
So he's getting nothing basically. Like
well, I think, I don't know, I just think this is a really not interesting. What's the word? Like, because the NBA
unique.
The NBA has another thing that happens similar to this. I don't know if you know about it, Julie.
Yeah, it's I know what you're talking about.
With Karl Malone. Do you know who Karl Malone is? He's been recently he's recently been on NBA TV. Like they had
the NBA doesn't shy around his record or anything.
Yeah, the NBA actively promotes him still. Like they still are like, oh yeah, he's like the number 4 scoring, and like he's like.
Didn't he get like something?
He recently was like a judge at like the dunk contest or something, which is why people are like, what? They still got this dude here? But what happened with him was he impregnated like a 13-year-old girl when he was 20.
Oh yeah.
And the NBA and that kid, he plays in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, so, and the NBA kind of really turns a blind eye to that. So I think that's why people are very much like, damn, the NBA is really not going to do anything.
But he was in the NBA when that happened?
I actually don't know.
Yeah. I actually don't know. But
regardless,
I feel like that's kind of like,
they should have never let him in.
I don't think so. I mean, I think she was 13, right, when she had the kid, but they said that she was 12 when they had the relationship.
Damn.
And he was 20, which I think is insane.
I just mean it's one thing to maybe when he was playing to not kick him out of the league, but to now years later where that son has grown up and is playing on another professional league, and for the NBA to actively still be promoting Karl Malone, despite it being proven true that that's like his kid and his mom was 12 years old. That's where it's weird. It of course, like whether or not that happened when he was in the league. Yeah, I get that. Maybe they didn't have the full justification to fully fire him, but to still actively promote him and like act as if like nothing.
Why do you think they do that though? Like, why do you think they still keep them? Are they that good?
Yeah, Karl Malone, I think, does have on
paper, he's like a legend.
Yeah,
like, you know. And so it's kind of like for them, it's like a money thing, pretty obviously. I think.
Yeah, to ignore him would be to ignore a large portion of NBA history, and for them, they don't want to really do that. But Josh Giddey, I don't know.
Well, I think that's why people.
Is he good?
Josh Giddey, he's really young, so I feel like the reason I think people are like, I guess extra upset is kind of like the Karl Malone thing. Yeah. And they've always been like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. And to now, like, that kind of happened again where it's like there's a player with an underage girl and they're kind of like, you could play. Is kind of like, what does that say about how the NBA feels about that sort of thing? That's wild. You know?
That's wild, because then that means like any of them could get away with it or anything, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's just what's weird is I can't imagine from the student's perspective in that high school to know that, come on, bro. In high school, everybody talks. There's no way all those kids didn't know or didn't know about the rumors of like, yo, that girl's hanging out with Josh Giddey. Yeah. Like, especially an NBA player like that. He's not rolling up in a fucking black all tinted taxi. He's rolling up in his Lamborghini, all painted out, probably shades on, Probably bumping like
He's not in a Civic Honda.
probably bumping like
Well,
Young
he's a
Thug.
millionaire, so you know, it's like
Exactly. That's what's weird to me is that this dude has so much money, and obviously like attraction and love or whatever you want to call it, dating women isn't about like the amount of money you have. But I just mean somebody of his status who's not only famous, is athletically gifted, and has millions of dollars. He chose a 15-year-old girl to like mess around with.
Yeah.
That just says more about Josh Giddey than I think anything else. It's like I know discussing the whole like relationship between him and the organization, but I mean just Josh Giddey the person. I think that's really fucking weird. It's giving R. Kelly. Like it really is, because it's like what is he really gaining from that?
Yeah.
Like it isn't just like, oh, I thought she was it's not on some Elvis shit where it's like, oh, different time, and like, oh, I thought she was just so beautiful, I didn't know her age. Bro, he's literally a millionaire. You're telling me that with all those resources, he couldn't have just checked that she was underage? Or maybe he did and he knew the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just wild. Well, because it's like, I don't know. It's because you guys say that he knew, but yet he was still hanging around like the high school though.
Well, it's because like the details right now are very unclear. Well, because there's no like official. It's just the allegations right now, and the
NBA
and the NBA saying they're doing an investigation. You know, so like, I don't. There's no. This hard to.
It's just weird because it's like I feel like you could tell when someone's really really young. Like not like, especially she's 15.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn, that's wild.
I guess for me, it's just more like, how do you not know she's in high school? And even if you thought she was 18 in high school, I feel like that's still really weird.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, he's 21.
I don't know. I feel like to be like, oh yeah, my girlfriend's in high school. It's just kind of like, I feel like there's just such a different, like a scaling difference of like maturity, especially like you're like this nationally televised athlete who's like, I don't know. I feel like
you really like risked it kind of like that.
I just feel like it didn't even occur to you in your mind. Like, I mean, is she 18? Like, you know, like she's in high school. I feel like that's a really big
I'm
tip
just like, how did he find her?
That's also
like, how did they can't meet at a club. They can't meet like at like some sort of thing because she's 15, you know, and he's 21 and he's an athlete, you know, like everyone's going to recognize that fool. Also, I'm just like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe he's into that shit because power. He just likes the power. Yeah. And I think the other part is probably, I don't know, just from like past things, maybe that fool got violated.
True. Could be deep and dark like that.
There's just like different things that could make him as to like why, and like he's just not in his right mind, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy, bro.
That's just
crazy.
Wild.
Oh my God. This is crazy, bro.
So 15, so 6 years?
15 and 20.
Yeah, but those are very important development years, bro. What I think about 21 is the age most people graduate from college.
She's basically a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And he's graduating college.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if this is. I don't know the full details, but I don't know if she's 15 right now, like, or their relationship started when she was 15. But like, if she's 15 right now, I'm like, then when did your relationship start, bro? Like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not even kind of. That's really weird. Like, I don't know. I don't see how this at all ends up like
in his favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Unless they just don't say that they just didn't find anything.
Yeah, if it ends up like that, that'll be crazy to me.
That will be crazy to me. I don't know. I don't know if the NBA can completely cover this one up, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Is that all you have?
That's all I have.
Brandon, what did you bring for the show today?
I was watching There Will Be Blood yesterday.
Okay.
And I don't know, something about that movie makes me think, because it's such a like, I don't know.
I think you see a lot of his life, so I think it makes you think about life and your choices and where they'll eventually end you up.
Maybe. Yeah. That's a good take. But I don't know. It's just had me started thinking about deep questions. So I just brought deep questions to see if maybe you guys have deep answers.
Less. Go ahead. All right. See. This is a good first day of December. We're looking at the reflection of the year. Hell yeah, let's do this.
Okay. As you've gotten older, what has changed the most about the way you view life?
I guess in a weird way, like not taking it so serious. I feel like when I was a lot younger, like in middle school and like high school especially, I felt like a lot of things that were happening were kind of um, like life ending. Like this is like gonna ruin me. Um, and I think I took life a little too serious. Where like I feel like that's why I wasn't enjoying life as much, because I was more worried about like the decisions that I would make that would affect me in the long run. And now I kind of just like vibe. I'm just like I'll just do this if I want to. Like if these are things that I want to do, I'm gonna go for it, kind of thing. Um, and I think now I just try to enjoy it and have fun and just go with the way life kind of takes me. I don't think I think about it too seriously as much anymore. I still like here and there, like I will, just because of like certain things that like maybe I should like think a little more seriously about, or like in a adult mindset. But I feel like that's something that I've learned, is to kind of just chill out, you know, like not everything is meant to be taken seriously, you know. Um, I think that's just the only thing that I've kind of learned. That's the first thing that popped into my head when you said that.
I think for me, it's control. I think you're more in control of your life than you ever thought you were when you were younger. Because to me, I think about how you grow up and you go to school, and you're kind of forced to go to school. I mean, it's by law, and you go there and you do your study work. The teachers enforce these ideas of what you want to do when you grow up, and you feel as though your life is on this track. But when you get older, you realize how much more power you actually had, even as a kid, and even now. You everything, your perception. You don't get to choose your family, but you get to choose your friends and the people you surround yourself by. You don't get to choose the circumstance that you're born into, but you get to choose the career and what you want to do with your life. And I think that's what I've understood more, is the older you get, the more you can really do whatever you want. You could even, and don't do this, but you could literally break people's hearts, make somebody feel good, break friendships. It's all in your power. And the older you get, the more you get that like financial freedom, the energy, the status to kind of do that. So it comes with a lot of responsibility, but I think it's also positive, because if you're unhappy and you feel like things give you a lot of anxiety, you have that power to change them, or at least do what you can to change them. You know, because obviously you're still limited by some like socioeconomic things. But for the most part, that's what I think about. I think about the older you get, the more you have more control. And yeah, that's the most, like, I'll leave it at that. I won't go too deep.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I find those interesting answers. I feel like I find both of your answers interesting. Julie's interesting because you said that you feel like your life is a little, you try not to take it as seriously. That's interesting, because I feel like I feel more the opposite. I feel more like, yeah, when I was younger, not that I didn't take life seriously, but
You goofed around.
It's hard to explain. I feel like it's very hard to explain in words, and I don't mean this in terms of like it's an attitude shift so much as it is like a literal perspective shift. It's not like, it's more like if someone picked me up and then put me over here, and I'm like, whoa, this looks a lot different. And I feel like that's kind of like, for me, so far being older, it's just been taking that in, you know?
I get that, because it relates to a little bit of the weed and the alcohol thing. When I was a teenager, late teenager, yes, I smoked young. When I was smoking, I thought like getting high every day, fun, like was cool with that. I'll be fine. Now 25, if I got high every day, I would seriously think, do I have a problem? Am I running away from my problems? Is everything okay at home? How is it affecting my relationships with my friends? You know, it just feels more serious, because I just think that as you get older, your behaviors that you have and your routine, it just like spreads out. It's not anything to fuck around with, you know, like you're like, oh, when I was like a middle school kid, I'd always be mean to my friend, and now I don't really talk to him anymore. Well, yeah, because you guys aren't kids anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but that's a really interesting point. I feel like it's just really interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, because I feel like, I think when I was a lot younger, I feel like, and I mean I still do, but I feel like I would always just follow the rules a lot. And I feel like when people, I wouldn't judge people who wouldn't, but I'd just be like, I think to me, when I was younger, I just wouldn't understand why people were the way that they were sometimes. And I think to me, I feel like because I was such a rule follower, that I feel like at a young age, I kind of took some experiences away from being just young, that I feel like I grew up. What's the word when people are like, oh, you're a lot older than what you seem, kind of thing? I forget what like the phrase is, but I feel like I had such a
Mature for your age?
I was really mature for my age, and I feel like I kind of carried that for like a while, where I think that's why I kind of like took everything so serious, because of the fact, just the way that I feel like it just comes from the fact of how I kind of grew up, and like I didn't want to disappoint my parents for like the things that they've done, because like I feel like they sacrificed a lot, and I didn't want to be that kid that like was like always interrupting class and like doing all these things, because like it just felt like it wasn't right for my family. And I feel like I was I feel like I was so serious in that like it took me away from just being a kid, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why now as an adult I'm trying to, I guess, heal that part of me of like not taking everything so serious. Like it's fine like not to follow the rules every once in a while, kind of thing. And I feel like that's why it also happened where I just was angry at a lot of things, because I was mad as to like why people weren't following these things, and like being seen so differently from other people because I was the person who followed the rules, I guess. And so I feel like that's why now growing up I see it in a different perspective. And I don't blame myself. I'm like, I'm proud, because I feel like that's who I am now. That made me who I am now, kind of thing. And I'm not really disappointed in decisions that I made. I was just a kid, you know? And so now as an adult, I feel like that's why I kind of see that as like, I don't take it too serious. And I mean, I still do, like how I said, there's certain things where I just see them in a more mature thought too, as I get older. But I think that's like one of the things that like, for me, I feel like, I learned as like being a kid to like now.
Interesting.
Yeah. That I see differently, you know? Yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Making up for lost time.
Yeah. I feel like, especially in my new relationship, I've been able to kind of heal that inner child. I feel like my childhood wasn't that bad. I'm not trying to make my childhood sound like it was bad. It was just like, there was just different circumstances of like, you know, my family worked a lot, you know. There was just certain things that I couldn't do. I feel like I kind of grew up in, again, like because I was in the middle, I grew up in that I saw a little bit of our poverty, and then I saw us kind of grow of like getting out of that area, because we still got to do a lot of things, you know, as a family and stuff. But I feel like there's things that I didn't get to experience that I'm experiencing now in my relationship, and I'm healing that inner part of myself. So yeah, I feel like, you know, I'm growing, you know, and it's okay to be childlike sometimes as an adult.
It always is, bro.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At first, I didn't know. I didn't like see it that way.
Didn't agree.
I love
didn't
being
agree.
childlike, bro.
I didn't agree. I was like, bro, you're being immature.
I'm just enjoying life.
And then eventually, I was like, you know what? Yeah, like,
you're like, it's just fun.
you know, I was just being serious. You know, I was taking it too serious. Where I'm like, no, like it's fine. Just chill, relax, vibe. You know?
I feel like I see it, especially when I look back on us when we were kids. For sure, I'd be like, Julie, isn't this cool?
Yeah, I'd be very serious back then.
Okay, next question. All right, so we've asked this before, but I'm not really asking it in like a negative connotation. So do you believe people can change, or does someone always have to be what they're changing into? So like an example,
I get what you mean.
Like, let's say there's this like nerdy little scrawny kid, and like he's like, oh man, like I wish I was this big, strong, like protective guy. Could he change into that, or was he always that deep down?
Wait, like he was always?
Was he all like? Do you think
guy?
Do you think when people like change, do you think you can genuinely change from something completely different into something completely different, or do you have to always deep down be that?
That's an interesting question, because I kind of like to think about it that it's always in you, and that's kind of, as frightening as that may sound, because I know the instant thought is, what if the thing I want to be isn't in me? I don't know. I think that if you
think the desire to be that is
exactly, because I feel like that's that kid who was a nerd, and I was like, I wanted to change my life, so I changed to become this. But I'm like, no, bro, the fact you even did that and thought that means that it's always been in you. That's like, because to me that's such a positive, like, empowering thing. Is that whatever you want to be? I want to be more eloquently spoken. I want to be an extrovert. I want to make all these friends. Just the fact that you want to do that means that it's already in you, and it means all you got to do is bring that out of you. And then when you reach that mountaintop and you succeed and do whatever you want to do, whether it's your career or personal relationships, you can look at yourself and be like, you didn't change. You just became more of yourself.
You just evolved.
Yeah, and I think that's just that's beautiful to me. But I see the frightening side of like, oh my God, but like, what if that's not in me? And like, what if like that's just not who I am? And I'm like, fuck that, bro. Try anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Then you never know. If you succeed, then fuck yeah, it was always in you. You see, you know.
I see it more as like the kind of like the meant to be. If you're meant to be like that, then you're gonna be like that. You know. At least that's when you were describing it. That's how I saw it. You know. So I guess I mean, if it's in you, I think it'll happen. Because I feel like if it's in you, that's why you have the motivation to kind of become who you want to become, you know? I don't know. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, because I don't desire to, like, I don't know, be a fucking, I was going to say astronaut, but when I was a kid, I did. I don't desire to, I don't know, fucking drill a hole to the center of the earth. But I bet somebody does. And I bet they're not doing that right now. But I bet if they put their mind to it, they could. But I never could because it's just not in me. You know, that's just not what I desire to do. I think desire is the first step into achieving. You know,
I think you said it all. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Okay, how important is it to be vulnerable? Is vulnerability a key part to a fulfilling life?
Yes, I do think so. I think it's difficult, especially for the boys out there. I think it's difficult. Because I think when you're not vulnerable, that's where a lot of loneliness comes, because you think it's you versus the whole world. But sometimes when you open up and you let your guard down, not only do you let people see a side of you that you've never seen, I think you also are confronted with a side of you that you didn't think you had. And when you see that, you realize things that you just like didn't think were in you. Because I think about it with me, I've struggled with that for sure, with vulnerability. But now with my beautiful girl, she's very like, let's talk about our feelings, right? And I'll talk about them. And I guess sometimes when I lay my cards out on the table, I look at them and I realize that there's cards on this table that I didn't know I had in my deck. You know, like I didn't know that this existed, and now I do, and that's something new. And then I get to know myself in a way that I didn't know. Because I just think that naturally people think they know everything. I think I knew everything, but sometimes when you become vulnerable, you realize, wow, I didn't know that it took somebody else to be able to see myself as from somebody else. I don't know. It's complicated, but that's the best I can do. I won't talk too long.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Stevie and what he's saying, everything that he said, because I feel like vulnerability is pretty much necessary, especially if you're trying to connect with people. I feel like it is a big way of opening up. And I get that it's hard, like for sure, like, because you're scared of you being vulnerable, that people use that against you sometimes. I know that's like one of the biggest fears, is just like being so open that now you're open enough for people to kind of hurt you. And I guess I know that that's some of the fear and stuff that people are scared of, to be vulnerable. And I guess people are just scared of seeing that side in general, because they see it in such a negative area, like especially like crying, right? If you cry, like, oh, like you're weak or whatever. And I mean, we just learned that crying isn't weakness, you know. It doesn't mean you're weak. It actually means that you're
classroom session.
I feel like it's very much important, because you have to feel your feelings, whether they're good or bad, you know. And I think it's very special when you have people to share that vulnerability with. I think being vulnerable is just like the truest self that you could be. And I think showing that to people is really important. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Stevie kind of said it all.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of just going in circles about it, but I feel like it is pretty much important to do it.
I think it's I think it's really, really important. I feel like, I guess the way what it reminds me of is like if you went to the doctor and you lied about like what's actually going on with your health. Like you're kind of like, oh, I'm sick and I got this nasty cough. And he's like, well, do you smoke? And you do. And you're like, nah, I don't smoke, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess I feel that way with like, I think to have any meaningful relationship, whether it's platonic, you know, friendships, family, or even romantic, you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like otherwise I feel like the relationship isn't real.
Yeah.
Like if I was just your friend, right, and I was just always like lying about who I was, and I was just like pretending to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
Are we actually friends? Like, because
Yeah.
I'm like, you're friends with somebody that isn't real, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing with your family. Like if you're always being like, nah, like I don't do this, I
Yeah.
don't like that, and you never really like open up to them, like are they really like, you know?
Yeah.
Same thing with like relationships, right? If you're obviously always lying and you're not opening up, then who are they loving, you know? Are
Yeah.
they? So I think relationships are like, again, all across the board are an extremely important part of life. So I feel like, and in order for those to work, you have to be vulnerable. So that's why I think vulnerability is really important, you know?
Yeah. I also feel like for me, especially like in friendships, when I have friends who aren't being vulnerable, to me, I know it might sound like a little selfish, but I'm like, to me, that kind of hurts me because I'm like, are you not comfortable enough to like share that with me or like be vulnerable with me? Like, I thought we were friends, you know, like, and I think it also hurts me to know that, as your friend, you're hiding that from me and like that you don't have anyone to like talk about it with, you know? I think that's the other part of like, I know you're hurting and I can see it because like I know you, but it's like it hurts me more that you don't want to talk about it and like that you yourself are harming yourself in like not talking about it. Because what Stevie said, I feel like that's when you don't talk about it. I think those are the moments when you feel like the loneliness, because it's like you don't have anyone to kind of share your thoughts, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it is important to kind of show that side. And I get, you know, like if you don't want to do it, like I'm not trying to force you to do it either. And that's why I don't like question too much about it, because I'm like, if you don't want to talk about it, I'm not going to force you to talk about it until you're ready. And that's something that you kind of like learn yourself, is up to like when you are ready to kind of show that side, you know? It's not easy. I get it. So, you know, take small steps.
Well
Word.
said. Word real.
Word. Palabra.
Palabra.
Just side note, while you get your next question ready, I just also hope you know, and you probably do know because you're smart. Like when people don't want to share, it's like never personal. It's never.
No. Yeah. Which is why I said like, you know, that's just one side of it. But the other side is I get that it's just hard to do.
As somebody who struggles with sharing, I just like had to like say that in there. It's like it's never personal. It's never about the individual I share the information about. It's more about my thing.
Yeah, well said, guys. Okay, here's another one. What's a very difficult truth that you've learned in life? And I don't mean like, oh, I was adopted, you know, not like that, not like that kind of thing. I mean more
Santa
like
Claus wasn't real.
More like, oh, that's probably true. I should probably live my life that way, but that's hard for me to accept.
I think for me, it's that self-harm doesn't always mean physical. I think that to me has been one of the hardest ones, is that self-harm could mean a lot of things. It could be, I'm upset, so I want to like not see anybody and like starve myself in my room, where that's just like, who is that really harming? Is that me trying to make my loved ones upset? Like for me, like the thing that I've struggled with the most that I've talked about is like loneliness. I'm like, okay, yes, I have triggers of like loneliness, but is there certain behaviors that I have that push me to push others away and be more lonely? And why do I do that? Why does anybody do self-harm? It's because you feel as though there's this like unreasonable need to like harm yourself. And I think that's been the hardest thing, because I think it's so easy to commit non-physical self-harm to yourself. And I think a lot of people do that, whether it's drinking like immensely until you get so fucked up you throw up, or you regret the next day, or there's so many like examples of it that they become almost invisible to people, because I know they were invisible to me, but I've gotten better at it. I have gotten better at it. So And that's my word. That's what I think. Because I'm still struggling with it. That's how you know it's painful. Because in the moment right now, I almost can't even describe it because it takes a little bit more of self-awareness.
I get what you mean. Like, it's not always like physically hurting yourself. It's more like, fuck everybody. Everybody hates me. I'm going to stay alone for a while.
It's emotionally and like it just goes beyond the metaphysical. Because I think when people think of self-harm, they think of like, oh, I'm cutting myself or like I'm like rubbing like stuff on myself or pinching myself. I know so many ways, but I don't do them. Just through media, right? But I think it goes beyond that. Sometimes it's not physical. Sometimes it's like it's just the way you treat other people and the way you then treat yourself. So I think that's been the hardest thing for me to swallow because I think it takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of pain that you kind of have to look past to really figure out what specifically are you self-harming yourself in, you know?
I'm trying to think. I couldn't think of anything.
Do you want
What was
me to
the
go
question?
first?
What was the question again?
It's what's a very difficult truth that you've learned in life?
Okay, you can go first.
I think for me, it's learning how much things require your own effort. Like, I think a lot of things require a lot of personal effort. Like one of the ways that I think about a lot is like, two actually, is music and clothing. And I think one of the things that obviously people always ask is like, oh, what kind of music do you listen to? Like, who's your favorite band? I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I feel like I look at everybody and I'm like, you like Sublime, and my girlfriend likes Arctic Monkeys, and everybody's kind of got one of those things. And I was always like, how do you guys like know? Like, how do you guys know who your favorite band is? And it like dawned on me that like, well, Brandon, you got to go out of your way to like, you got to put in that effort in yourself to find what you like. Mm-hmm. I guess in my mind, I guess I'd always just thought it'd kind of just fall on you. Mm-hmm. Like that kind of thing just kind of happens. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when that kind of clicked, a lot of things kind of clicked where I was like, oh, you kind of have to do that for a lot of shit. Well, like clothes. Like, let's say I see something that I'm like, oh, I think that's cool. But I'd never like buy it. I'd never like buy that for myself. And then the other day I was like, why? Like, why don't you put that effort into yourself of like getting yourself some nice stuff that you like? Because I was like, damn, like you have to really put in effort to like cultivate who you are. It's never just going to like fall in your lap.
I get what you mean.
And I think that's interesting because it's like, I think a lot about my life and I'm like, I've never really done that. Like I just kind of always thought that's people just, I don't know. I just always, in my mind, you never see that side of people, obviously, right? I never see how much effort you put into yourself, and I never see how much effort you put into yourself or how much effort anybody puts into themselves. So from that perspective, it's very easy to think like, that's just base. Like you were born like that. Like you were born like in Sublime. Like you were, you know, like you were just born into that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really interesting because you can apply that to a lot of things like friendships, right? I don't know. In my head, I like as a kid, I always thought like, oh, people are just like friends. Like it just happens. But as you get older, you're like, no, you got to put in like effort too. Like with anything, you got to be like, hey, I also kind of want to hang out too. Like I also kind of want to do this thing. I also kind of want to do that. Maybe we should do that. I don't know. And just, I think with a lot of things, it's interesting to realize like when you haven't been putting in effort and you haven't done that kind of thing, because then you're like, oh, that explains a lot. That explains why I don't really know. But I don't know. I just think that's an interesting like bridge to cross.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's really cool. That's really cool, bro. That I really like that answer. It's just about like initiative too, because I think when I was younger and I was thinking about this conceptually, that one of the things that I had the biggest problem with is I didn't want to feel fake though, because I'm like, if I pursue something, if I take the initiative, I make that choice to do this and that, like, is that really a choice, or am I just trying to like be something that I'm not? But as you get older, like you said right now, it's just like you make that click of like, no, like that's just life.
Yeah.
You get what you get out of it by choosing to do certain things. And so it really resonated a lot with me. I was like, wow, bro, that's beautiful.
I feel like I see that more in like friendships and making the effort to like stay connected. Because I feel like the older you get, the more, I mean, we all have like, eventually we all have jobs. Either we work the 9 to 5 or we work in the evenings or the weekends, and we hardly see each other. and it's making the effort to still kind of maintain those relationships. That's kind of what I thought of as you were like talking about it. Because I feel like that's something probably that I learned a lot as I kind of grew older, is just, especially for me, because I went to college in San Francisco and I still have a lot of friends out there, and learning how to kind of just still stay connected with people who I have basically all around the world kind of. And I don't know, I think that's just something that I learned, but I couldn't really think of anything, honestly. I feel like I kept trying to think of something, but nothing came to mind, honestly.
I feel like you kind of answered it earlier when you said about like not taking life too seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of answered it there.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like I really am chilling with life right now.
That's good.
Where like I feel that like, I don't know. I mean, I still have my problems, right? But like I feel like there's just, I feel because you guys are still a little younger, that I feel like where Stevie's at, I used to be at. Where like I used to be in that thing of like, I did feel lonely, and I weirdly, what I would do is I would stop talking to people to see who would reach out. So it was just me kind of just harming myself of like, no one's going to reach out. Nobody knows what's going on with me.
For sure. Exactly, bro. Exactly.
And with like what you said, like how I said, I think my thing is that like I learned in the effort of that is that like connecting with my friends, right? It's the same thing with my friendship. Like I feel like I've struggled with relationships a lot, but I think that's how I saw it. And that's why I think to me, I'm kind of like,
She's there. Like, bro, you little kid. You little snot-nosed
No,
kids.
to me, I was just like, I feel like I was there. And it's funny because like I've been thinking about this a lot, especially because I've been watching like a show about like high school and stuff, and the commercials that usually come on are like, oh, like they're like young and like sweet, right? And then when they get to their teens, they're like mean and like grumpy or whatever. And then you guys are talking about like your experiences and all that, and what you guys have learned. And I'm kind of like, so then is there something that like we all kind of just like are kind of grow in like similar, like, you know, as your teens, everybody knows that teens are always like grumpy or like mean, or they have like some sort of attitude, and when you're younger you're like this different way. And I'm kind of, and to me it just made me think a lot of like, I wonder how, if we really are different in the way that we kind of grow up, or it's just something in our bodies that kind of makes us that way.
I think people are different in the way we grow up, but I think it seems different when it's like I look at you or people that I know. I think people become friends or like close because there's something in us that we see in ourselves. So I feel like there's something alike in us. Maybe we can't put it to words, like maybe it's our vibes or something.
Yeah.
And that's why we're like, oh, that's similar. That's why you're like, oh, I remember you were there, because there's something about me and Steve that reminds us about you.
Yeah.
So that's why I think maybe it's like,
I agree,
it's different for everybody. Because I remember I saw this like quote, or not quote, it's like a fact that every person is the average of like the 5 people they hang out with most. So like your personality is kind of like a mix of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And I think that's interesting because,
oh my God, because I feel like there's like 5 people exactly that I always hang out with.
Yeah,
so that's crazy.
It's funny.
There's literally 5 people exactly that I could come to mind right now that I'm like, oh my God, I literally hang out exactly with those 5 people.
I just think it's funny because I'm like, Stevie's my brother, so it's kind of like,
does she count?
does he count? Yeah, but I feel like he does. Yeah. Like,
yeah, because we hang out. Not all siblings hang out.
Yeah, which is funny, which I find interesting. You know.
Yeah, that's
like,
that's a whole topic for a whole other episode.
But I'm just like, I just think it's funny that you say that because I'm like, because the fact that Stevie is in that group to me is just like really interesting. Because I'm like, I feel like
I don't see anything in him that I see in myself.
I hate him. No,
I hate him. No, yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
Interesting.
At least that's what I got from what you guys were talking about. Because I'm like, I feel like I was there.
No, I like that. That was chill.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, last question before we wrap it up. All right, a great man once said, LeBron James, he said, the universe will never put you in a situation that you can't handle. In your experience, is this true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The universe will never.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
The universe will never put you in a situation you can't handle. I feel like, yeah. I mean, I'm very more of like the universe gives you this. And I feel like,
The
yeah,
universe
I feel
this, the universe
like, I feel like in a way, yeah, you wouldn't be in a certain situation if you wouldn't be able to handle it for sure. I don't know how much more to describe it, but like, I feel like, I feel like also you as a person, I think you kind of doubt yourself on the things that you can take on. And I think when you are faced with those challenges or whatever that challenge may be, I feel like you feel like in that moment you can't take it on, but I think you're stronger than what you think, you know? And I think that's why you do kind of what's the word? I don't know what the word is. You do like achieve it. Like you do accomplish what you want to accomplish.
You overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people are a lot stronger than what they think they are, and I think people can take on a lot more than what they think they can. It's just I think people live too much in that doubt of themselves that they are kind of maybe weak or like whatever that is, whatever that doubt is. Because I feel like the doubt and the negative thoughts overtake you more than like the positive ones of like overcoming and achieving certain things. And I think that's why I'm like, I think what the universe gives you, I feel like sometimes, especially how I said, like I'm very much in the universe, and I feel like what you kind of face is what you're kind of meant to face, whether you achieve it or you don't. I think it's a lesson that you'll learn through it, you know? That's how I see it.
She said it all, bro. I got nothing to add. Yeah, I got nothing to add. I agree.
What do you think? You don't think so?
I don't know if I agree or disagree. I feel like, I don't know. I guess as an adult, I can agree. Like as an adult, I feel like generally speaking, I've been okay. But I feel like for me, I think more back as a kid, and I feel like there was a lot of situations where I feel like I don't know that I handled that. I feel like I just more came out on the other end. But I'm like, does that count as like handling it? You get what I mean?
I think it does.
I don't know. I don't know if I completely agree that it does. It's more like, I don't know. I guess let me give an analogy. It's like if I got shot and I survived. It's like, did I handle that or did I just get lucky? You know? I don't know. I feel like that's an interesting crossroads for me. But then again, I feel like the story isn't over. So I'm kind of like, that's kind of a cop-out. Because you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I totally get it, yeah. I guess it is kind of a hard question. Because, I mean, especially you said LeBron James said it. So I'm like, easy for him to say since he's arguably the greatest player of all time. But
he wasn't
a billionaire
at first. Right?
Well, he said it. He said it after he wins the coming down 3-1 with the Warriors. He said, "The man above gives me the hardest roads, but he'll never put you in a situation that you can't handle." And so I was watching that, and I was like, "Is that true?"
Well, because to me,
I feel like I don't know. I think it goes back into that thing of like, it's something that it's an event in your life that can make or break you, you know. And I feel like there are people who don't like make it, you know. And I think I don't think that really shows like your character. I think sometimes it is your circumstances of certain things that you can get out of, you know. But I don't know. I feel like in a way the world is kind of like that, you know. There's always, just as there's good, there's bad, and it sucks that some people get the bad, you know. And yeah, I think that's all I can like think about is just that like there's certain things that, you know, it is just like kind of like your luck that you kind of got out of it. But I feel like it is still like the universe kind of did that to you, and there's something that like you were, in a way, you were able to overcome it. Like I keep thinking about that scenario of what you're saying. If I got shot, right, and was I lucky? And I'm kind of like, I feel like you overcame it. You know, I feel like you can either still be scared about it, you know, about going out, doing things, or you can still go out and like start talking about, I don't know, gun violence or some shit. I don't know. I feel like there's just certain things that you kind of like learn from those experiences, you know, and it depends on how you take them. Again, like there's people who probably wouldn't be able to handle it. You know, there's people who are going to be scared to go out or do certain things or whatever the circumstances was that led you to that. You're going to be like, I'm not going to do that again kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I just think as long as you're still breathing, there's still room to look forward to something new It's as long as you're still breathing, still a new day to overcome. As long as you're still breathing, you're still achieving, right?
There you go.
That's good.
He said
Right?
bars.
Bars. All right, I guess I'll leave it at that then.
Yeah. But that was really good, Brandon. That was a really good segment. Has me thinking deeply, especially as the year comes to the end. I hope you guys have the same way. You know, the year's coming to an end. Hope you guys reflect. I hope it's healthy. I hope you guys are growing, developing, blossoming into beautiful people. All young people, because everybody's young at heart. Heal anything you got to heal. Enjoy the holidays. Be safe. And
Brandon, he's gonna shout out
to all our
patrons.
ooh, nice one, Julie. You caught me.
Shout out to Yoel. Shout out to Jada Chicano. Shout out to Daniel Villanueva. And shout out to Sara without an H. Your patronage is greatly appreciated. And if anybody out there watching wants to join the Patreon, our link is always in the bio. We have a lot of cool videos on there.
Yeah, we have a lot of content on there.
Yeah, so I think it's worth the price. So go ahead and check that out. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.